after me. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So tonight, the program I have, the reading material, is in 3 parts. Part 1, we're going to hear about Parashara Muni, and then we will hear about the son of Parashara, Vyasadeva. Now, why did I pick that? Because Vyasadeva is the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should know something about the author. And then, if we have time, hopefully, part 3, we will study one of the most important verses in this Bhagavatam. We begin by offering prayers to Srila Prabhupada. You can recite with me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Then we need the blessings of the Panchatattva. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Then my 2 favorite mantras, Trinadapi Sunichena Taradiva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalau Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyata. So let us begin. Let's first hear about Parashara. Please follow along in your sheets. He is the grandson of Vasistha Muni and father of Vyasadeva. He is the son of Maharshi Shakti, and his mother's name was Adrishyati. Parashara was in the womb of his mother when she was only 12 years old, and from within the womb of his mother he learned the Vedas. His father was killed by a demon, Kalmashapad, and to avenge this, Parashara wanted to annihilate the whole world. He was restrained, however, by his grandfather Vasistha. Parashara then performed a Rakshasa killing yajna, but Maharshi Pulastya restrained him. Parashara begot Vyasadeva, being attracted by Satyavati, who was to become the wife of Maharaj Shantanu. And by the blessings of Parashara, Satyavati became fragrant for miles. Parashara was present also during the time of Bhishma's death. Parashara was spiritual master of Maharaj Janak and a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Parashara is the author of many Vedic scriptures and sociological directions. So that is a little summary that Prabhupada wrote in one of the purports in the first canto. Now we will read some verses directly in Bhagavatam about Parashara. The great sage Maitreya Muni said to Vidura, the great sage Sankyayana was the chief among the transcendentalists. And when he was describing the glories of the Lord in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam, it so happened that my spiritual master, Parashara, so now we know who Maitreya Muni's spiritual master is. Parashara, and Brihaspati both heard him. The great sage Parashara, being so advised by the great sage Pulastya, spoke unto me the foremost of the Puranas, Bhagavatam. So now you learned something else. There are 18 Mahapuranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost. I shall also describe this before you, my dear son, in terms of my hearing, because you are always my faithful follower. Purport. The great sage of the name Pulastya is the father of all demoniac descendants. Once upon a time, Parashara began a sacrifice in which all the demons were to be burnt to death because his father had been killed and devoured by one of them. The great sage Vasistha Muni arrived at the sacrifice and requested Parashara to stop the deadly action. And because of Vasistha's position and respect in the community of sages, Parashara could not deny the request. Parashara, having stopped the sacrifice, Pulastya, the father of the demons, appreciated Parashara's Brahminical temperament and gave the blessings that in the future he would be a great speaker on the Vedic literatures called the Puranas, which are the supplements of the Vedas. That's another important point. The Puranas are supplements of the Vedas. Parashara's action was appreciated by Pulastya because Parashara had forgiven the demons out of his Brahminical power of forgiveness. Another important point. A Brahmin, one of his qualities is forgiveness. Parashara was able to demolish all the demons in the sacrifice, but he considered, demons are so made that they devour living creatures, men and animals. But why on that account should I withdraw my Brahminical qualification of forgiveness? As the great speaker of the Puranas, Parashara first of all spoke on the Srimad Bhagavata Purana because it is the foremost of all Puranas. So, twice now, Prabhupada has wanted us to know that. Maitreya Muni desired to narrate the same Bhagavatam he had heard from Parashara, and Vidura was qualified to hear it because of his faithfulness and his following the instructions from superiors. So that's an important point. Your qualification is your faithfulness. Just as in the Bhagavat-katha, there are 9 symptoms of a Brahmana. Shamo damakta pakshocham, shantir arjivam evacha, jnanam vijnanam astikyam. So that astikyam, Prabhupada mentions, of all the 9 qualities, that's the most important of a Brahmin. And what is astikyam? Firm faith in Vedic scriptures. So that's the most important. A Brahmana has complete faith in the Vedic scriptures. So Srimad Bhagavatam was being narrated from time immemorial by the disciplic succession even before the time of Vyasadeva. The so-called historians calculate the Puranas to be only a few hundred years old, but factually the Puranas existed from time immemorial, before all historical calculations by the mundaners and speculative philosophers. The next excerpt is from the first canto. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. In what age are the people the most less intelligent? Kali Yuga. What age do we live in? Therefore, we are less intelligent. Next excerpt, also in first canto, Sutta Goswami says, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born to Parashara in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Purport: there is a chronological order of the four millenniums, namely Satya, Dwapara, Treta, and Kali. But sometimes there is overlapping. During the regime of Vaivasvata Manu, there was an overlapping of the 28th round of the four millenniums, and the third millennium appeared prior to the second. In that particular millennium, Lord Sri Krishna also descends. And because of this, there was some particular alteration. So that is what's happened. He's talking about what just happened. The mother of the great sage was Satyavati, the daughter of the Vasu or fisherman, and the father was the great Parashara Muni. That is the history of Vyasadev's birth. Every millennium is divided into 3 periods, and each period is called a sandhya, just like the day also. We sing that song. What is that? Yes. So let's do the whole verse. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada, yasya prasadan nagati katopi, dayang stuvangs tasya yashastri sandhyam. So those who are initiated Brahmins have to chant the Gayatri mantra 3 sandhyas: sunrise, noon, sunset. That's how they are supposed to do the 3 sandhyas. Vyasadeva appeared in the 3rd sandhya of that particular age. Now we'll hear about Badarayana or Vyasadeva. He is known as Krishna, Krishna Dvaipayana, Satyavati Sutta, Parasharya, Parashatmaja, Badarayana, Veda Vyas, etc. Vyasadeva was the son of Mahamuni Parashara in the womb of Satyavati prior to her betrothal with Maharaj Shantanu, the father of the great general grandfather Bhishmadev. Vyasadeva is a powerful incarnation of, everyone?
Narayan.
And he broadcasts the Vedic wisdom to the world. As such, Vyasadeva is offered respects before one chants the Vedic literature, especially the Puranas. Shukadeva Goswami was his son, and rishis like Vashampayana were his disciples for different branches of the Vedas. He is the author of the great epic Mahabharata and the great transcendental literature Bhagavatam. The Brahma Sutras or the Vedanta Sutras or Badarayana Sutras were compiled by Vyasadeva. Among sages, Vyasadeva is the most respected author by dint of his severe penances. When Vyasadeva wanted to record the great epic Mahabharata for the welfare of all people in the age of Kali, he was feeling the necessity of a powerful writer who could take up his dictation. By the order of Brahmaji, Sri Ganeshji took up the charge of noting down the dictation on the condition that Vyasadeva would not stop dictation for a moment. The Mahabharata was thus compiled by the joint endeavor of Vyasadeva and Ganesh. Now we have the next excerpt is from the 9th canto. Shukadeva Goswami said, Chitrangada, of whom Vichitravirya was the younger brother, was killed by a Gandharva who was also named Chitrangada. Satyavati, before her marriage to Shantanu, gave birth to the master of the Vedas, Vyasadeva, known as Krishna Dvaipayana, who was begotten by Parashara Muni. From Vyasadeva I was born. Who's speaking? Shukadeva Goswami. I studied this great work of literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, from Vyasadeva. The incarnation of Godhead, Veda Vyas, rejecting his disciples, headed by Paila, instructed Srimad Bhagavatam to me because I was free from all material desires. That's a hint. That's a hint. After Ambika and Ambalika, the two daughters of Kashiraj, were taken away by force, the Chitravira married them. But because he was too attached to these two wives, he had a heart attack and died of tuberculosis. So I guess the message is, don't be too attached to your wife. Badarayana Sri Vyasadeva, following the order of his mother Satyavati, begot 3 sons, 2 by the womb of Ambika and Ambalika, the 2 wives of his brother Vichitravirya, and the 3rd by Vichitravirya's maidservants. These sons were Dhritarashtra, Pandu, Vidura. Purport: the wife of Shantanu, named Ganga, gave birth to Bhishma, one of the 12 authorities. 2 sons named Chitrangada and Vichitravirya were also born from the womb of Satyavati by the semen of Shantanu. And Vyasadeva was born from Satyavati by the semen of Parashara. Vichitravirya died of tuberculosis, and his wives Ambika and Ambalika had no issue. Therefore, after Vichitravirya's death, his mother Satyavati, who was also the mother of Vyasadeva, asked Vyasadeva to beget children through the wives of Vichitravirya. And when I read Mahabharata, that is how the Mahabharata starts. In the version that I read, it starts with Satyavati calling Vyasadeva to impregnate those girls. Okay. In those days, the brother of the husband could beget children through the womb of his sister-in-law. This was known as Devarena Sutotpati. If the husband was somehow unable to beget children, his brother could do so through the womb of his sister-in-law. This Devarena Sutotpati and the sacrifices of Ashvamedha and Gomedha are forbidden in the age of Kali. So, as far as the sacrifices, they're forbidden because there's no Brahman in Kali Yuga powerful enough to do the sacrifices properly. Because in the Ashvamedha and Gomedha, although the animal is sacrificed, either the animal is brought back to life in a rejuvenated body or takes a human form right there at the sacrifice. I don't think there's any Brahmin out there, I don't care where you go, that can guarantee, yes, I can, no. And as far as Devarena Sutotpati, we just read, everybody in Kali Yuga is what? Fallen. So, they're not able to do that. All right, another reference from the 12th canto. Srila Sutta Goswami says, O Brahmana, in the present age of Vaivasvata Manu, the leaders of the universe, led by Brahma and Shiva, requested the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the protector of all the worlds, to save the principles of religion. O most fortunate Shonaka, the Almighty Lord, exhibiting a divine spark of a portion of his plenary portion, then appeared in the womb of Satyavati as the son of Parashara. In this form, named Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, he divided the one Veda into four. Srila Vyasadeva separated the mantras of the Rig, Atharva, Yajur, and Sama Vedas into four divisions, just as one sorts out a mixed collection of jewels into piles. Thus, Vyasadeva composed four distinct Vedic literatures. The most powerful and intelligent Vyasadeva called four of his disciples, O Brahmana, and entrusted to each of them one of these four Samhitas. That ends part one. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.